stand for the national anthem. So at this time, I'm looking for approval of the agenda. If I could ask Trustee Archer and Trustee Maria, Trustee Bacon-Miller for moving of the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'm looking to see if there's anyone not in favor of approving the agenda in the room or on the phone. Not seeing anyone and not hearing anyone, the agenda is approved. So before we begin this evening regarding the election of the chair, I'm seeking a motion to appoint Heather Miller and Sean McKillop as scrutineers. And I ask and thank you, Trustee Galindo and Trustee Danko, to pass and second, if you're okay with that. And I'm asking if anyone on the phone is against the motion, or anyone in the room, looking for hands or listening for voices. Not seeing anyone, so thank you. Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to call for nominations for the position of Chair of the Board.
Director Figueredo, it's Trustee Bingham.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Bingham.
I would like to nominate Trustee Danko as for Chair, please.
Thank you. So I'll ask if there are any other nominations for Chair of the Board on the phone or in the room. Are there any more nominations? And third time, are there any more nominations? Seeing and hearing no other nominations, can I have a motion to close the nominations by Trustee Bingham and then Trustee Johnstone? Anyone voting against the closing of nominations? Not seeing anyone and not hearing anyone. So to the motion moved by Trustee, oh, we just did that. Oh, Heather, you're going to have to help me here now. Thank you. So thank you. So we have a single nomination to the motion moved by Trustee Bingham. I need a seconder for the motion to nominate the Chair of the Board as Danko, looking at Johnstone. So where Trustee Danko has been nominated as Chair of the Board. So I have, again, I'll recap, Trustee Bingham, second by Trustee Johnstone. I'm looking for everyone to vote for this motion. I'm looking in the room to seeing if anyone is, looks like everyone's in favor of the motion in the room, and I am listening on the phone if anyone is, if everyone also is in favor. I want to be in favor when I ask for this one. And not hearing anyone dissenting.
I'm in favor.
So I'm not hearing anyone dissenting. So congratulations to Trustee Don Danko, Chair of HWDSB School Board.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Okay. Thank you. I do just want to say a brief note of thanks to trustees for this great privilege to serve as your chair for the next year. It's been a real honor to serve as your vice chair over the past 2 years, and I thank you for your collaboration and support over that time. I have to say that I didn't take this position lightly. In fact, I know I have very big shoes to fill. And I would like to acknowledge the incredible amount of work that Trustee Johnstone has done as chair to support our board and HWDSB over the past 2 years. Thank you to Trustee Johnstone for your unwavering dedication, your commitment. Your leadership has been critical for our board, especially over this past year. I also want to express gratitude for the director, to our senior staff and their teams for all of the work and support you have provided to the Board of Trustees and for the system over this past year. And thank you, of course, to our frontline workers, our educators and staff who are doing their very best to support our students every day throughout what is a turbulent time. Often our initial board meeting is a time for celebration, a time to reflect on the past year and on our successes. As Trustee Johnstone highlighted in our last board meeting, we have been relentless in advocating for the resources needed for quality public education. But with continuing challenges and uncertainties, we know there is more work to do. I also have to acknowledge that this is a sobering time, as we have lost a number of our students and a staff member this fall. Most recently, we lost Jude Strickland in a tragic accident. And I know our hearts are heavy, and they're with the families and school communities who are coping with loss right now. So how do we move forward? This is an opportunity to start a new year at an unusual time, to take the time to reset as we select our committees, to reconnect with one another and our communities in this new normal, and to refocus on why we are here. Our core mandate is providing quality public education to empower students to learn and grow to their full potential in a diverse world. When we refocus on why we are here, we can set direction purposefully and always with our students in mind. I look forward to supporting the work of the board as your chair. I look forward to working with all of you and the director, senior staff, with Trustee Officer Miller to reset, to reconnect and refocus our efforts on student achievement and well-being. We all bring our unique passions, interests, and experiences to this board. And when we work collaboratively as a board and with staff, we can make great strides in meeting the needs of over 50,000 students in our board now and into the future. Trustees, we have faced challenges like never before this year. I am confident as a team we are up for the challenges ahead. Thank you again for supporting me in the position of chair. Now I have to move into the rest of our agenda. The next item on the agenda is the election of vice chair. Sorry. Thank you. Here we go. At this time, I would like to call for nominations for the position of Vice Chair of the Board. We can have self-nominations, or you may nominate another person. Looking to those in the room, are there any nominations?
Chair Danko, it's Penny Deese.
Go ahead, Trustee Deese.
And I'd like to nominate Becky Buck for Vice Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Buck, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Trustee Mulholland.
Madam Chairperson, Madam Vice Chairman, I will now call you Madam Chair. I believe a few things help an individual more than anything else is to bring responsibility to that person. So I'm pleased tonight to nominate Trustee Cam Galendo for the position of Vice Chairman. I believe he has the ability to do the work that needs to be done, and he has a demeanor to act responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mulholland. Trustee Galindo, do you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations? And I think one last time I need to ask, are there any further nominations? Seeing and hearing no other nominations, can I have a motion to close the nominations? Trustee Johnstone, and I'll select someone on the line, Trustee Archer, if that's okay. Is anyone opposed to closing the nominations? Not seeing or hearing anyone, the nominations are closed. At this time, we will go in reverse order, and the two candidates or the nominees for Vice Chair can bring remarks to the board in 2 to 3 minutes, please. We'll start with Trustee Galindo.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Trustee Mulholland. I am humbled to accept the nomination. As I reflect on my experience as a trustee, and I realize that working with my colleagues to help build a stronger education system has been the greatest honor and privilege of my life. As a nominee for Vice Chair, I am cognizant of the fact that this upcoming year will be the most consequential in recent memory. Soon we will have the results and recommendations of the bullying review panel. We have an upcoming governance review where I'm hoping we can make substantial strides, including trustee trainings, for example. We have a lot of work to do on Indigenous issues. We have a lot of work to do on the equity portfolio. And those are just to list some examples of a lot of the work that we have ahead of us in this upcoming year. In my opinion, the most important role of Vice Chair is to support the Chair while contributing and taking on the additional responsibilities that come with this commitment. As Vice Chair, I expect to bring the highest level of genuine passion, professionalism, pragmatism, respect, and a holistic perspective. I am ready to fully commit myself because there's simply too much that we still need to do. But I want to hear from all trustees at the same time. I want to make sure that I create opportunities for listening, opportunities to receive feedback, to grow, and really to support our chair. Because when our chair succeeds, and when we help each other out, when we bring people in, then our board succeeds. In closing, we're a team. And in order to be successful, we have to find ways to better support each other, to listen, and to create a safe space for everyone. There is so much that I have learned in the past few years alone, but there's also a lot that I clearly still need to learn. I want to thank each and every one of my colleagues for your guidance and mentorship, and I hope that I can continue to rely on that guidance in the next year as Vice Chair. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Trustee Bach?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The past 2 years have been a beautiful whirlwind of learning, growing, and hard work. I ran a campaign in 2018 that acknowledged that I am simply a mother, that my commitment was to public education in Hamilton and to working towards building a school system that supports families and focuses on creating a learning environment that allows every student the opportunity to perform to the best of their ability. For the last 2 years, I have dedicated myself to committee work, sitting on a good number of our mandated committees, trustee special committees, as well as one of our community advisory committees. I have actively participated in professional development opportunities and engaged with the community. I have spent my time as trustee staying attentive to the varying and emerging needs, which have been many, that HWDSB has faced. I am committed to the work of the board and running for re-election at this level of government in 2 years' time. There have been times, and I feel I must acknowledge that where I have been on the minority end of votes that have come to the board. However, even in those times of disagreement, I have remained respectful in my arguments and have always accepted and supported the final decision of the board, regardless of what my personal opinion was at the time of the vote. I state this now to reaffirm for you what you already know about my character. I will always consider carefully the information presented to us, the personal opinions and perspectives of each trustee, and make decisions in a thoughtful and respectful way. We make each other better when we are willing to listen to ideas and reach new conclusions as a cohesive body. As I look to the next year, I see a deep, abiding need for all trustees to work on reestablishing working relationships with one another. In the past year, we have faced significant challenges, differing opinions, and have allowed hurts to fester. We cannot function well if we are divided. My hope for serving as vice chair is to be part of that work of restoration and reestablishing unity among us. Each one of us has a unique and valuable perspective that should be recognized at this table. Through the role of vice chair, I will support the work of the chair, being a sounding board for her in times of quick decision-making. I will support the work of all trustees, helping us to find common ground. This role is not for pushing my own personal agenda, as no trustee role is intended for that purpose. Rather, I will support the interests of the board, thinking from a system perspective on how best to achieve our ultimate goal of every student learning and achieving to the best of their ability. Regardless of how tonight's vote goes, I will continue to advocate for unity amongst board members, to support the work of the chair, and above all, to support the most important goal of student learning and achievement for every student in our system. That is, after all, why we are all here, and they are who we serve.
Thank you, Trustee Buck. At this time, I'm going to ask the nominees to, if they would like to select a scrutineer beyond Trustee Officer Miller and Senior Manager Sean McKillop. Okay. Trustee Galindo, you'd like to select Trustee Johnstone as a scrutineer? Thank you. So trustees, at this time, we are going to ask you to fill out a ballot. You will put one name on the ballot. That is the person that you support for the position of vice chair. The names that you can choose from are Trustee Buck and Trustee Galindo. On the phone, can you please text privately to Trustee Officer Miller your choice? She will write your choice on a ballot and confirm it with you by sending you a photo of the ballot, and then the ballots will be collected and counted. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none in the room. On the line, are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll ask trustees to complete their ballots. I'll just remind trustees on the line to put themselves on mute. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So I would like to, well, I'll bring forward the successful nominee to the motion moved by Trustee Mulholland. I'll look for a seconder, Trustee Johnstone, where Trustee Cam Galindo has been nominated as Vice Chair of the Board. Is anyone voting against this motion? So we'll look to the room. Seeing none, and on the line, is anyone against this motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Congratulations, Trustee Galindo. Due to COVID restrictions, I'm going to ask you to stay in your chair for now, and we will make arrangements to move things around after this part of our meeting. Thank you. At this time, Trustee Galindo, would you like to say a few words?
I'll keep it brief. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm humbled by the opportunity to serve as Vice Chair, and I'd first like to thank Trustee Buck for putting her name forward. I think at the end of the day, I'm often reminded that we're a team, and we're all in this together. And I'm really looking forward to doing the best I can to serve our chair and trustees equally. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Galindo. I look forward to working together in our new capacities. At this time, I am also pleased to have Pat Daly, Chair with the Hamilton-Wentworth Catholic District School Board, on the line with us, and he would like to bring forward remarks. Trustee Pat Daly, would you like to bring forward your remarks at this time?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Danko, trustees, senior staff, ladies and gentlemen. It's my distinct honor and privilege to bring warm words of greetings on behalf of the Hamilton-Wentworth Catholic District School Board. And at the outset, on behalf of our board and indeed our entire Catholic school system, I would like to express our deepest condolences on the sad and tragic death of your beloved student, Jude. Please be assured that the Strickland family and the entire Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board community are and will remain in our thoughts and prayers. I would like to congratulate you, Chair Danko, on your election, and as well Vice Chair Galindo, clearly serving in those roles on such a distinguished public school board in our province is an honor and indicative of the respect and confidence that your colleagues have in you. So I do want to offer our congratulations, and as well to assure you of how much I and our trustees on our board look forward to continue to work with you in the best interest of the students and ratepayers of both of our systems. I want to acknowledge publicly the tremendous service and strong leadership provided by your outgoing chair, Alex Johnstone. I've had the pleasure and honor of working with a number of chairs of your board over the past few years, and many of them, if not all, remarkable, many men and women, and one, if I can single out, of course, Trustee Mulholland. But in the case of Trustee Johnson, I have to say that there are few, if any, that meet the high level of integrity, accessibility, and openness to working collaboratively on behalf of both of our systems. So I do really want to thank her. We had many conversations over the last number of years, of course, with regard to student transportation, but many other issues. And as you have indicated, Chair Danko, she served at a time of real challenge. And I do want to, again, thank her and commend her for her extraordinary leadership. I as well want to recognize the good work of the trustees and your board, and in a special way, your senior staff. I have described the work of the system and school staff in our own board as heroic. These past 9 months have clearly been times of unprecedented challenge, and I know that your staff have rose to that challenge, and I do want to publicly thank them because obviously we're within the same community, and it's important that all of our students do well, and that would not be the case without their good work. So I do want to thank them. I in no way want to diminish the enormous challenges that we have shared over the last while, but I believe that it's important as well to recognize and celebrate the successes. And when I look at the extraordinary commitment of teachers and other staff and leaders at both at the school and system level, where I see the patience, understanding, and commitment of students and their parents and guardians, I can be nothing but filled with great hope. And I believe that it's all a cause for celebration and a sign of our shared commitment to the good of the young people in Hamilton-Wentworth, but indeed to our entire community. And I want to assure you that we very much value the partnership that we have enjoyed with the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board for many, many years, and as well publicly assure you of our commitment to continue to work with you in a spirit of cooperation and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Daly. I'm sorry that we aren't able to see you in person this evening, but we really appreciate you joining us to bring your remarks, and congratulations on your own appointment to chair for your board. I think we would echo the sentiment that we serve the same community, and only by working together as collaborative partners can we do that in the best way possible. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, trustees, at this point, we'll move on to the next agenda item, appointment of trustees to committees. So a reminder that we will do the appointments and have one vote at the end of each set of appointments to all of the committees within each category. If there is more interest than there are spots available for a given committee, we will go to a vote as we've done for vice chair. And for this section, trustees may self-nominate or have a nominator. We do not need seconders for these motions. At this time, let me just pull up my list. To item 7, appointment to board mandated committees. A reminder, trustees, that we are all listed as members for a standing committee and the suspension, appeals, and expulsion hearings committee. So we can move along to item 7C, appointment to trustee code of conduct review. At this time, I'm looking for interest looking for 2 trustees, one to be the first alternate, the second to be the second alternate. Do I have any interest for this committee in the room? Do I have any interest for this committee on the phone?
I'd like to self-nominate.
Okay, I hear 2 voices. I believe one was Trustee Tutt, and I may have missed
Trustee Deeth.
Trustee Deeth. So Trustee Tutt and Trustee Deeth, we haven't scared you away. I will look to see if there is a preference on who is the first alternate. Trustee Deeth, do you have a preference on first or second alternate?
Second.
Second. And Trustee Tutt, are you okay with being the first alternate?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have Trustee Tutt for the first alternate and Trustee Deeth for the second alternate. Moving along to the Parent Involvement Committee. This is an excellent committee that meets, I believe, once a month with parent representatives from our community and other community representatives. So I'm looking for up to 3 trustees for the Parent Involvement Committee. The minimum we need is 1. Do I have any interest for this committee on the phone?
Yes, it's Trustee Deeth.
Trustee Deeth, and I have any interest for this committee in the room? I see Trustee Buck. Is anyone else interested? We have room for 3 trustees. Okay, hearing and seeing none, that would be Trustee Buck and Deeth for the Parent Involvement Committee. Thank you. For item E, Supervised Alternative Learning, that is SAL, we're looking for at least 3 trustees, but would take up to 5 to serve on the SAL committee. Remember, this is a daytime meeting on Mondays. It's every other week. One trustee attends each biweekly meeting. In the past, when we have had 4 to 5 trustees, it has been helpful in terms of time commitments for those on the committee. Do I have any interest for this committee in the room? Seeing none, do I have any interest for this committee on the phone?
Trustee Archer?
Thank you, Trustee Archer.
Trustee Bingham?
Thank you, Trustee
Trustee Bingham?
Thank you.
Trustee Deeth?
Thank you, Trustee Deeth. Do I have any other interest for this committee on the phone or in the room? Thank you, Trustee Miller. And I'll go one more time. Any further interest on this for this committee? Okay, hearing none. Moving along to the Special Education Advisory Committee, or SEAC. At this time, we're looking for up to 2 trustees for SEAC. The minimum is 1 trustee. The commitment per the legislation is for trustees to be on the committee for the remainder of the trustee term. So that is until November 30th, 2022. Do I have any interest for this committee on the phone? Do I have any interest?
Yes, it's
Go ahead.
Yes, it's Trustee Deeth.
Okay.
Trustee Deeth.
Thank you, Trustee Deeth. Do I have any interest for this committee in the room? Seeing Trustee Johnstone. Is there any other interest for this committee on the phone or in the room? Okay, seeing and hearing none, those are our 2 trustees. For item G, the student trustee mentor, we're looking for 1 trustee to work with the vice chair as the student trustee mentor. A reminder to trustees that the table mentors are not changing at this time, as they are established when the students begin their term in August. So for the student trustee mentor, in collaboration with the vice chair, do I have any interest for this position in the room? Do I have any interest for this position? Oh, sorry, Trustee Miller, thank you. And do I have any interest for this position on the phone? One more time, any further interest for this position in the room or on the phone? Okay, thank you, Trustee Miller. Thank you, trustees, for the appointments to our board-mandated committees. Could I ask that the Officer of Trustee Services read back the appointments to the committees before I look for a motion to approve?
Thank you, and through the chair, for Standing Committee, all trustees, Suspension, Appeals, and Expulsions Hearings Committee, all trustees, Code of Conduct Review, Trustees Tutt as first alternate, Trustee Deeth as second alternate. For Parent Involvement Committee, Trustees Deeth, Trustee Buck. For Supervised Alternative Learning, or SAL Committee, Trustees Archer, Bingham, Deeth, and Miller. Special Education Advisory Committee, or SEAC, Trustee Deeth, Trustee Johnstone. And for Student Trustee Mentor, in addition to the Vice Chair, Trustee Galindo and Trustee Miller.
Thank you. So I'll seek a motion and I'll select 2 trustees from Trustee Galindo and Trustee Bingham, if that's acceptable, to move the appointments to the board-mandated committees be approved. Are any trustees opposed to this motion on the phone? And are any trustees opposed to this motion in the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is approved. Moving along to the next item on the agenda, item 8 is the appointment to our special trustee committees. Each committee, with the exception of governance, can have up to 5 trustees as members, and the minimum we need is 3. You'll notice that audit committee is not listed, as this is a committee where the time commitment is for 4 years, and we have full committee membership with trustees Bingham, Tutt, and myself on that committee for the term. I'll also remind trustees that this is where we do a lot of the important work of the board, and to have 3 trustees on a committee does make it sometimes challenging to ensure that we have quorum. So we hope that you'll find a committee or 2 or 3 that you're passionate about. At this time, we'll start with Finance and Facilities, 8A. Do I have any interest for the Finance and Facilities Committee in the room? Okay, so I got Trustee Buck, Trustee Danko, Trustee Johnstone, and Trustee Galindo. Do I have any interest for the Finance and Facilities Committee on the phone?
I'd like to nominate myself.
Thank you, Trustee Tutt. And is there any further interest for Finance and Facilities in the room or on the phone? Okay, seeing and hearing none, that brings us to 5 members. Thank you. Item B is governance. So the governance committee is made up of myself as chair of the board, Trustee Galindo as vice chair, Trustee Johnstone as past chair of the board, and I am looking for up to 2 additional trustees to sit on governance. Do I have any interest from trustees on the phone?
Yes, Trustee Bingham.
Is that Trustee Deeth? Sorry,
Trustee Bingham.
Trustee Bingham?
Annie and I keep talking. Sorry. It's Trustee Bingham as well.
Okay, so both trustees Bingham and Deeth on the phone have an interest?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Is there any interest for the governance committee from trustees in the room? Okay, so we have trustees Miller and Buck. Is there any further interest from trustees on the phone or in the room? Okay, so we have 4.
I'd like to nominate myself.
Okay, Trustee Tutt. I don't think governance has ever been this popular. We know that we have some important work to do. So at this time, we do need to select 2 trustees to sit on governance, and we have 5 that have put their name forward, so we will go to a vote. So at this time, I'll go to Trustee Officer Heather Miller to just read off the names that you can select from, and you need to put 2 names on your ballot.
Thank you, and through the chair. The names, you would select 2 names from the following list: Trustee Bingham, Deeth, Miller, Buck, and Trustee Tutt.
I'll just make sure that there aren't any questions at this time in the room. I can read them out again so she doesn't have to move to the microphone. So that's Trustees Bingham, Buck, Deeth, Miller, Tutt. Please put 2 on your ballot. And on the phone, you'll be texting those to Heather Miller, and she will confirm your ballot. As we are collecting the ballots, did any trustee wish to select an additional scrutineer beyond Trustee Officer Miller and Senior Manager Sean McKillop? In the room, seeing none. On the phone? You would have to pick one of us in the room, just so you know. Okay, hearing none, that's fine, thank you.
left.
Okay, we're back, trustees. At this time, the fourth governance committee member is Trustee Tutt. We need to go to an additional vote to decide between trustees Bingham and Miller. So at this time, I would like you to list one name on your ballot, choose from Trustee Bingham or Trustee Miller, and we will go through the voting process again for the fifth member. Thank you. Trustees, I apologize. I didn't go to trustees to allow you to speak in reverse order about why you would like to be on the governance committee. I apologize. So at this time, there's a couple ways we could proceed. Would trustees like to take a step back and allow all members who had put their names forward to speak, and we will just redo the vote starting from the beginning? I apologize for that oversight. So I'm looking at trustees in the room. Is anyone in favor of moving to just allowing trustees to speak before we proceed with the vote? Okay. Hearing none, we'll then continue on with this second vote that we've started. Sorry about that. I'll make sure I don't miss that again. Okay, trustees, we're back. We'll welcome trustees Tutt and trustee Miller to the governance committee. And I will remind trustees that any trustee is welcome to attend committee meetings. You don't have a vote at the meeting, but you can certainly participate and share your input, and of course have a vote when the report comes to board. At this time, we will look for interest for the Human Resources Committee, item C. Do we have any interest for the Human Resources Committee in the room? Seeing trustee Johnstone. Okay, and any interest for the Human Resources Committee on the phone?
Yes, it's trustee Deeth.
Thank you, trustee Deeth. I'm looking for any further interest for the Human Resources Committee on the phone or in the room. Reminding trustees we do need a minimum of 3 members, ideally more. Thank you, trustee Miller. And one more time, do we have any further interest in the Human Resources Committee on the phone? Okay, hearing none, I will add myself to the Human Resources Committee. So that's Johnstone, Deeth, Miller, and Danko. Item D is our Policy Committee. We have an important meeting, I think, coming up this week, and some additional work that we'll be doing on policy. So do I have interest for the Policy Committee on the phone? Looking for interest for the Policy Committee in the room. Trustee Miller, thank you. Trustee Buck. Okay, we have 2 members so far, looking for a minimum of 3. Do I have any further interest for the Policy Committee in the room or on the phone? Trustee Galindo, thank you. and any further interest for Policy Committee on the phone? Okay, hearing none, we'll move along to the Program Committee, item E. Do I have interest for the Program Committee in the room? Trustee Buck? Trustee Miller? Okay, do we have any interest for the Program Committee on the phone?
Yes, it's Trustee Dees.
Thank you, Trustee Deeth. Do we have any further?
Trustee Archer?
Well, thank you, Trustee Archer. And do we have any further interest for the Program Committee on the phone or in the room? Okay, hearing none, we do have 4 members. And I will remind trustees that where there is a spot available on a committee, you can express an interest at any time. So at this point, I will thank trustees for the appointments to our board mandated committees. Could I ask that the Officer of Trustee Services read back the appointments to the committees before I look for a motion to approve?
Thank you, and through the Chair for Finance and Facilities, Trustees Buck, Danko, Johnstone, Galindo, and Tutt. For Governance Committee, Trustees Danko, Galindo, Johnstone, Tutt, and Miller. For Human Resources Committee, Trustees Johnstone, Deeth, Miller, Danko. For Policy Committee, Trustee Miller, Buck, and Galindo. And for the Program Committee, Trustees Buck, Miller, Deeth, Archer.
Thank you. I will seek a motion from Trustee Paikin-Miller and Trustee Tutt, if that's acceptable, to move that the appointments to the Trustee Special Committees be approved. Is there any trustee opposed to this motion on the phone or in the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is approved. Moving along to our next agenda item, number 9, the appointment of Trustee Special Committee chairs. So a reminder again, if there's more than one trustee interested in the position of committee chair, we will move to a vote. I will remember to ask you to speak if you would like to be chair. And we will start with item A, which is Finance and Facilities. So do I have any self-nominations or nominations for the position of chair for the Finance and Facilities Committee in the room? Trustee Johnstone? You would like to self-nominate? Thank you. Do I have any further interest for position of chair for Finance and Facilities on the phone? Do I have any further interest for the chair for Finance and Facilities in the room or on the phone? And I have to say this 3 times. Are there any further nominations for the chair of Finance and Facilities? Okay, seeing and hearing none, then I will look for a motion to close the nominations. Trustee Buck, is anyone opposed to closing the nominations in the room or on the phone? Thank you. And then 2, okay. Apologize. I need a seconder to move to close the nominations. So I had Trustee Miller, thank you. Is any trustee opposed to closing nominations? Seeing and hearing none, the motion to close the nominations is approved. Okay. And sorry, we will go to a motion to approve all of the committee chairs at the end of this section. For Governance Committee, do I have any self-nominations or nominations for the position of chair for the Governance Committee on the phone? And in the room? Trustee Miller?
I would like to nominate Trustee Paul Tutt, please.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Do you accept the nomination, Trustee Tutt?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I have to ask this 3 times. Are there any further nominations for chair of the Governance Committee? Are there any further nominations for the chair of Governance Committee? And are there any further nominations for chair of Governance Committee? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll seek a motion to close nominations from Trustees Buck and Galindo. Is any trustee opposed to closing nominations in the room or on the phone? Seeing and hearing none, the motion to close nominations is approved. For item C, Human Resources, do I have any self-nominations or nominations for the position of Chair for the Human Resources Committee in the room? And on the phone?
I will. It's Trustee Dees.
Trustee Dees, you're self-nominating?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations for Chair of Human Resources Committee? Are there any further nominations? And are there any further nominations? Just make sure I've covered that. Seeing and hearing none, I will look for a motion to close the nominations from Trustees Tutt and Archer. Any trustee opposed to closing nominations in the room, on the phone? Seeing and hearing none, the motion to close nominations is approved. For item D, for Policy Committee, do I have any self-nominations or nominations for the position of Chair for the Policy Committee on the phone? And in the room, Trustee Buck?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Maria Felix Miller.
Thank you. Do you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations for Chair of the Policy Committee? Are there any further nominations for the Chair of the Policy Committee? Are there any further nominations? Okay, so seeing and hearing none, I will seek a motion to close nominations from Trustee Buck, seconded by Trustee Johnstone. Is any trustee opposed to closing nominations on the phone and in the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion to close nominations is approved. And for item E, Program, do I have any self-nominations or nominations for the position of Chair for the Program Committee in the room? Trustee Miller?
I would like to nominate Trustee Buck, please. Thank you.
Do you accept the nomination, Trustee Buck?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Are there any nominations for position of Chair for the Program Committee on the phone? And are there any further nominations in the room or on the phone? Are there any further nominations for Chair Program Committee? And are there any further nominations? Okay, seeing and hearing none, thank you. I will look for a motion to close the nominations from Trustees Bingham and Archer, if that's acceptable. Is any trustee opposed to closing nominations in the room, on the phone? Seeing and hearing none, the motion to close nominations is approved. Ooh, that was a lot. Thank you, trustees, for the election of the Trustee Special Committee chairs. Could I ask that the Officer of Trustee Services read back the names of the chairs before I look for a motion to approve?
Thank you, and through the chair, for Finance and Facilities Committee, Trustee Johnstone; for the Governance Committee, Trustee Tutt; for Human Resources Committee, Trustee Deeth; for Policy Committee, Trustee Miller; for Program Committee, Trustee Buck.
Thank you. And I'll look for a motion from, let's see, Trustee Miller, seconded by Trustee Mulholland, if that's okay, to move that the election of chairs to the trustee special committees be approved. Is there any trustee opposed to this motion on the phone? In the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is approved. And congratulations to committee chairs. I know that you will lead us well as we move into this next year. Moving along to the next agenda item, number 10, is appointment to our community advisory committees. Each committee is seeking up to 2 trustees to be members. Okay, we'll start with the first committee, the Faith Advisory Committee. Do I have interest in the Faith Committee in the room? Trustee Buck, on the phone? Is there any further interest in the Faith Committee in the room or on the phone? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Trustee Buck. Do I have interest for the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit Committee on the phone? Looking for interest?
Yes, it's Trustee Bingham.
Trustee Bingham, thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Any further interest for the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit Committee in the room? Okay, I'm going to add myself to that committee, the Trustee Danko. Next item is item C, French as a Second Language Committee. Do I have interest for the French as a Second Language Committee in the room? And on the phone? Trustee Buck, thank you. Is there any further interest for the French as a Second Language Committee? I'll remind trustees that when we have two trustees, you can alternate the meetings that you attend. So in the room or on the phone, any further interest in the French as a Second Language Committee? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll move along. Is there interest in the Human Rights and Equity Advisory Committee or committee on the phone? In the room? Trustee Miller, thank you. And we have room for two trustees, so any further interest in the Human Rights and Equity Committee in the room or on the phone? Trustee Buck? Thank you, Trustee Buck. Okay, and moving along to, is there any further interest in the room or on the phone? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll move on to item E, Rural Schools. Do I have interest for the Rural Schools Committee in the room? Trustee Johnstone, thank you. Do I have any interest for the Rural Schools Committee on the phone?
Yes, it's Trustee Deeth.
Sorry, I've got Trustee Deeth, and I believe I heard Trustee Tutt.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay, so
I'll let Trustee Tutt. I'll stand down.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Deeth. So we have Trustees Johnstone and Tutt for the Rural Schools Committee. Is there any further interest in the room or on the phone? Seeing and hearing none, I will move along. Thank you to trustees for appointments to our community advisory committees. And can I ask that the Officer of Trustee Services read back the appointments to the committees before I look for a motion to approve?
Thank you, and through the chair, for Faith Community Advisory Committee, Trustee Buck. For First Nation, Métis, and Inuit Community Advisory Committee, Trustees Danko and Bingham. For French as a Second Language Community Advisory Committee, Trustee Buck. For Human Rights and Equity Community Advisory Committee, Trustees Miller and Buck. And for our Rural Schools Community Advisory Committee, Trustees Johnstone and Tutt.
Thank you. So I'll seek a motion from Trustees Paikin, Miller, and Bingham, if that's acceptable, to move that the appointments to the community advisory committees be approved. Are there any trustees opposed to this motion on the phone and in the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you, trustees. We'll move on to our final appointment of trustees as liaison or representatives to our associated agencies, which is item 11 on the agenda. Our first is 11A, the City School Board Liaison Committee. Do I have interest for two trustees to join me on the City School Board Liaison Committee on the phone?
Yes, it's Trustee Deeth.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Deeth. And in the room? Trustee Miller, thank you. Is there any further interest? We have room for two trustees, but just to check, is there any further interest in the room or on the phone? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll move along. Thank you. Item B, the Hamilton-Wentworth Home and School Association. Do I have interest for one trustee? Oh, sorry, did I hear someone on the phone? No. Do I have interest for one trustee to join the Vice Chair Galindo, for the representative to the Hamilton-Wentworth Home and School Association? They meet this year on Thursday evenings virtually. So looking for trustees in the room and on the phone. Is there any interest for to be a representative to the Hamilton-Wentworth Home and School Association in the room or on the phone? Okay, so Trustee Galindo, Vice Chair Galindo, you're on your own. Thank you. The next item is item C, the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board Foundation for Student Success. I'm looking for one trustee representative to the HWDSB Foundation for Student Success. Is there anyone interested on the phone?
Carol Paikin Miller.
Thank you, Trustee Paikin-Miller. Is there anyone interested in the room? Trustee Buck, thank you. Is there any further interest in the Foundation for Student Success on the phone or in the room? I'll just remind trustees to please mute yourselves. So hopefully, I think we've got one trustee that might have left by accident, but I'll give them a moment to get back on. At this time, we have 2 trustees who have put their name forward, and we have 1 position, so we will go to a ballot. Again, you're going to put the names of either Trustee Paikin-Miller or Trustee Buck on the ballot, just 1 name, please. And again, we'll go through that process in person, and on the phone, you will text your selection to Trustee Officer Miller. Thank you, trustees. Any questions at this time? No? Trustee Buck? Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. You do get to speak in reverse order. My goodness. Thank you for catching that. So in reverse order, Trustee Buck, you had nominated yourself second, so I will ask you to speak to the position for the representative to the Foundation for Student Success. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Yes, so the foundation is something I've wanted to sit on since my first year, and I haven't yet had the opportunity, so I'm quite eager to spend the coming year with the fabulous people at Hamilton Foundation for Student Success. My heart is in charity work. Giving is what I would actually call one of my giftedness. The work that the foundation does is so important in our looking ahead on how to achieve every student learning and succeeding to the best of their ability. So I'm quite anxious to work closely with the foundation. I am eager to kind of roll up my sleeves and do the work of the foundation over the coming year. And so if you have any questions, obviously I'd answer them, but I really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Trustee Buck. Trustee Paikin-Miller, would you like to speak to?
Yes, I didn't know whether our nominators were going to nominate us.
For these committees, it is a self-nomination. You can certainly have someone else nominate you, but they were self-nominations.
All right, so I'll speak to it then. Thank you. The Hamilton Foundation for Student Success has done and continues to do the excellent necessary work of providing educational and life opportunities for HWDSB students who might otherwise not have access to such supports. My involvement with the foundation goes back 21 years, before it was called the Hamilton Foundation for Student Success. It was then simply the HWDSB Foundation. I became involved as an HWDSB elementary teacher when I wrote my anti-racism children's book, One Enchanted Toonlight, with Teacher's Guide and Anti-Bullying Character Education binder. Endorsed by Boris Brott and HWDSB teachers, the book sold in Hamilton and area elementary schools. My book project came from my belief that teachers needed a vehicle by which they could help our young people understand that our differences, while special and worth celebrating, are less important than the many things that unite us. I created the word Toonlight as the light that will come to the world when we respect each other's differences and learn to live in harmony. $2 from the sale of every book went into a fund I created, managed by the HWDSB Foundation. I called it the Pearl and Sam Paikin Educational Opportunity Fund, named after my parents and the example they set of openness to all faiths and all cultures. Teachers would nominate a student to compete for a grant. The criteria, apart from financial need, was that the student had to demonstrate actions dedicated to bridging racial divides, helping students understand each other and get along better. The music CD of songs I wrote, which included the theme song, Sing a Song of Toonlight, was sung in conjunction with the Hamilton Children's Choir with soloist Haley Gillis, then 11 years old, one of my students in our system. She went on to work in theater arts in Toronto at Soul Pepper Theater and has done very well. When I became a trustee, I joined the Hamilton Foundation for Student Success Committee, hoping to continue the important work of providing opportunities for our students to be the best they can be. I was excited when I realized that one of my schools, Glendale, has the audition-based program of the arts. Having been both an educator and an arts person, I hope to link my contacts with our foundation work. While COVID has been an obstacle, I remain hopeful that we can overcome this barrier for all our students. I've enjoyed working with the foundation, support all the good work they do, and would very much like to remain a strong contributing member, and I hope for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Paikin-Miller. So thank you again for the reminder, Trustee Buck. At this time, I will ask you to complete your ballot. Place one name on the ballot, Buck or Paikin-Miller, and we will collect those in the way that we've done so far this evening. Thank you. I'll just remind trustees on the line to mute themselves, please. Before we go to count the ballots, would Trustees Buck or Paikin-Miller like to appoint an additional scrutineer tonight? No, for Trustee Buck. Trustee Paikin-Miller?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to appoint an additional scrutineer to oversee the counting of the ballots? Currently, it would be Trustee Officer Heather Miller and Senior Manager McKillop.
Oh, I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand for some reason. Sorry.
Sorry, if you would like an additional person, you could appoint, say, for example, myself to oversee the counting of the ballots as a scrutineer.
Oh, I see. I'm okay with whatever happens. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're back. Thank you. The results are in, and we're welcoming Trustee Buck to the Foundation for Student Success. But I would like to thank Trustee Paikin-Miller for the 2 years that she has done work for that foundation as a trustee representative. Moving along to the next item, the Ontario Public School Boards Association, or OBSBA. Do I have an interest from trustees for OBSBA? One trustee will be the delegate and one trustee will be the alternate. Is there any interest in the room? Trustees Johnstone and Galindo. Is there any interest on the phone? And any further interest in the room or on the phone? Okay, and Trustee Galindo, were you interested in being the delegate or the alternate?
Delegate. I meant to say alternate. I apologize.
Thank you. Trustee Johnstone, were you interested in being the delegate or the alternate? The delegate. Okay, thank you. So we don't need to go to a vote on that. Thank you, trustees. For the appointments to our associated agencies, could I ask that Trustee Officer Miller read back the appointments to the committees before I look to a motion to approve?
Thank you. And through the chair for City School Board Liaison Committee, Trustees Danko, Deeth, Miller. For Hamilton-Wentworth Home and School Association, Trustee Galindo. HWDSB Foundation for Student Success, Trustee Buck. And Ontario Public School Boards Association, Trustee Johnstone as the delegate and Trustee Galindo as the alternate.
Thank you. For the thank you, trustees, for those appointments. I'll look for a motion from Trustee Mulholland and Trustee Miller to that the appointments to the associated agencies be approved. Is there any trustee opposed to this motion on the phone and in the room? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you. We will now move on to item number 12 on the agenda. Director Figueiredo, would you like to share your remarks for this evening?
Yes, thank you, through the chair. Let me state on behalf of the entire senior team, again, congratulations to Trustee Danko for your appointment as chair and Cam Galindo as your appointment as vice chair, and for all the chairs of the committees. As you know, exec council and senior team and senior managers are all committed to working with the Board of Trustees. We'll continue to do so as it is vital because our students count on us to move our priorities forward. I'll just be one comment I'd like to say as we move into January, our annual plan for 21 and 22 is actually going to roll out. And I think you heard the chair indicate this earlier. We need to begin to focus, as there's so much work on our startup, and as challenging it has been, our Student Learning Achievement Report came forward and identified some of the gaps we need to address. I think also it would be very vital as we raise our level of equity and our equity consciousness, equity work must be aligned in support and service of our key goals. It can't be another goal. It needs to intersect with the key goals that we have around how are early readers doing, who's graduating, and is there a disproportionate number of students representing key data sets? That will be vital and key as we align our work moving forward, as we really look at closing the gap. More so than ever, the pandemic has just highlighted what already existed, but we're going to all have to be courageous. And as I spoke to people just recently, a black woman in the community who said to me, you know, be aware when you say this is difficult and courageous, just think how difficult it has been for marginalized, racialized, and people of poverty over the years. So yes, we've always said we need to meet people in terms of where they're at, but we need to lead people to where they need to be. And I'll be committed as the director and secretary of the board with the senior team to push this critical work forward on behalf of the Board of Trustees. Our students are counting on us, and there's an opportunity that we must move forward with this work. And we will bring people along with us, but it is a critical time. So thank you, through the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Director. So we're on to item 13, which is the chair's remarks. I've basically said most of my comments at the beginning of the meeting, but I want to thank trustees for committing to the work of the board through your various committees, through the positions that you've selected for this next year. And I know our board is dedicated. You're all hardworking. I know we are not afraid to ask critical questions and make difficult decisions that are needed to support our system. And I think the director really highlighted an important point. In times of disruption, that's when gaps that maybe we couldn't see very easily before become more apparent, and they become exasperated for our families who maybe are marginalized or have been living with difficult situations. And so we know we have a lot of work coming forward. And if we go back to our why, promoting student achievement and well-being for every single one of our students, then we can consider how we might do that. We promote student achievement and well-being by delivering effective and appropriate programs that meet our students' needs, whether they're in person or online, whether they have special needs or face other barriers. And of course, we always monitor those student outcomes to ensure that what we're doing is working. We promote student achievement and well-being by keeping our schools safe, and that means maintaining a robust pandemic response plan. And we really appreciate the work of staff as they have been working so hard to make sure that we are responsive and ready to pivot. We promote student achievement and well-being by continuing our equity work, as the director mentioned, by implementing Safe Schools bullying prevention and intervention recommendations as they will be coming forward, and making sure that we allocate funding for supports for students and staff where they are needed. And we promote student achievement and well-being by communicating well with families, and so that families and community partners can collaborate with us so that they can also support students. And of course, we have to do all of this while acting as responsible stewards for the board's resources through our budget. And we recognize that we've been through a challenging time setting our budget. We will finalize that coming up in the next few weeks, and we will likely have a difficult budget setting process going through this spring. Trustees, I know we are all dedicated and passionate about education, our students, our staff, and the families that make up the HWDSB community. And I look forward to continuing our courageous conversations, our learning, and our work as a board, and supporting all of your work as your chair. So thank you, and at this time, I will look for a motion to adjourn from this part of our meeting. Trustee Johnstone, seconder Trustee Miller. Is anyone opposed to adjourning? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will adjourn. Please don't go.